And welcome to the channel. Yeah, I'm not going to be on for long because I'm meant to be doing another live video shortly for Fantastic Four. So I'm still going to aim to do that probably in about an hour, hopefully, give or take. But I just wanted to react to the news about the passing of Hulk Hogan. So um, basically, I was on my way to the cinema to go and meet my family to watch Fantastic Four, which was brilliant, by the way, but that's by the by. And then I started getting all these alerts and things on my phone, and all these alerts from Sky, and I was like, Wrestler dead, and I was like, oh god, not another one, here we go. And then it came up that it was Hulk Hogan, and initially I was like, well, that can't be true, surely. Like, the guy that's like Teflon, who's been through every single thing and been through every single situation you could possibly think of, he can't be dead, but yeah, it got confirmed at 5 o'clock, I think, UK time. Um, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with this one basically. So first and foremost, obviously, um, condolences to Terry Bollea's family and his friends and his fans. Um, and obviously, rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. It's it's a bit of a double-edged sword for me, to be honest, because I don't want to be rude or uncaring. Obviously, a man has just lost his life, and look, that's more important than my feelings at the end of the day, whatever Terry Bollea or Hulk Hogan stood for. But for fairly obvious reasons, um, I wasn't keen on him the last 10 to 12 years, is the politest thing I can say, but it's not the time for that for me to be giving my opinions and stuff. Hi Shadowhunter, you alright? Um, yeah, no, obviously it's a difficult one for me because of the things that Hogan said on the video. But as I say, that's not important at the minute because at the end of the day, man's lost his life, and that is the most important thing at the end of the day. So it's slightly difficult for me to not think of those things for obvious reasons, but at the same time, what I would say to people who have the opposite view of Hogan, and believe you me, I've struggled with him the last few years, very, very much struggled with him for obvious reasons. Professional wrestling wise, the taking away the bloke, professional wrestling wouldn't be what it is now if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. So obviously you can have your opinions if you like him or you didn't like him. Personally, I was not a huge fan after what happened with the video. I found it hugely offensive beyond words. But taking that away, Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, however you want to refer to him as, was pretty much, maybe other than Vince McMahon, the most important figure in professional wrestling history. And yeah, it's as simple as that. Basically, there's no one else really in the history of wrestling. Maybe a push Ric Flair, possibly Vince McMahon, who's had more of an impact. Um, yeah, okay. Thanks, Haftis. Hi, mate. Um, because basically when Hogan started, just a bit of a backstory. He obviously came from the territories. Vince poached him. I forget which, and I feel really stupid now. I forget the territory he came from. I don't know if it was Mid South. So if someone's an old wrestling fan, please correct me on that. So Vince McMahon basically took him, brought him to WWE, and then in 82, 81, something along them lines. I forget. It was possibly 82 or 83. I forget. Basically, Hogan became world champion at Madison Square Garden, and beat the Iron Sheik, and basically from there Hulkmania was born. And Hogan went on the best run that possibly, potentially anyone's ever had. I mean, he was basically no one could beat Hogan for between what 84 and 1991, and Hulkmania was literally all over the place. He was responsible for what happened at Wrestlemania. He probably made Wrestlemania really the success that it was. Obviously, he had the teaming up with Mr. T, got involved with MTV and all that, and he was one of the first real people other than Jerry Lawler, who obviously had the feud with Andy Kaufman back in the day, who was like a mainstream hit basically. Um, and yeah, he was basically an icon in the 80s. Everyone knew who Hulk Hogan. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan now, or possibly anyone in the world, you're probably going to know who. I'm sorry, Hazard, I don't know what that means, but he was like he is the most recognizable wrestler in possibly of all time. I mean, definitely of all time, really. So, and then his popularity dwindled. So, I was back in the day when I was like 10 or 11, a Hulkamaniac. Um, and Hulk Hogan was basically my favorite wrestler when I was 10 or 11. Uh, okay. Um, and then basically I kind of fell away from pro wrestling from 92. So I watched Hogan at Wrestlemania in 92, and I think he had a random tag team match with Sid Vicious. It was him and Sid. It was him versus Sid Vicious, and then the Ultimate Warrior had to come and save him. I can't quite remember, to be honest, but basically after that I fell away from wrestling, and then Hogan kind of slipped away in '93 after Bret Hart dropped the belt to Yoko, and then Hogan came in and did that ridiculous finish. Basically, he won the title in like 25 seconds. It was absolutely ludicrous. But after that, him and Vince had a bit of a falling out, and then Hogan basically went off and did, I think it was Thunder in Paradise or something like that. And he said he was never going to wrestle again. And then Eric Bischoff, well, I mean, obviously most people know this story as a wrestling fan. Bischoff comes in from WCW and basically makes overtures to Hogan. Hogan backs him away, says he's not interested, yada yada yada. But eventually he comes, basically drops a truckload of money outside Terry's house, basically. So then he signs for WCW. Majorly over, obviously. He was hugely popular in WCW, but then his popularity started to wane a little bit. Sort of 95-ish. And then Bischoff came to him and basically said, would you be the third man? And I think Hogan was initially hesitant to be the third man, because he obviously was very, very worried about obviously merch sales, and like obviously kids have grown up with him and what's the reaction going to be, and so on and so forth. And then Bischoff convinces him. Hogan does the turn at Bash at the Beach on I think it was 96 possibly, and does the turn on Macho Man. Forms with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. That's another thing as well with the original NWO. There's now only Kevin Nash left, which is frightening really for me, because I remember all three of them being the NWO. So it's very, very weird, despite my opinion of the man personally not having Hulk Hogan about. Obviously he had the brilliant run with the NWO. I mean, it was the greatest heel turn and heel faction in the history of wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously WCW was so hot for like 18 months, hence the 83 weeks Eric Bischoff podcast name. Then WWE started coming back majorly, and then you had the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era, And then eventually, long story short, WWE ends up beating WCW. WCW goes out of business. Now, in that time, Hulk Hogan had also testified in the steroid trial against Vince McMahon, and Vince was not pleased, to say the least. What is the difference between a vitamin and a hormone? Pass, no idea. And then you thought, well, that would be it for Hogan, and then Vince actually brought him back as part of the NWO. Yeah, okay. Oh, cheers, boys, we have. Thank you very much, mate. It's very kind of you. Cheers. Thanks very much, mate. And then he came back as part of the NWO, and it was like, what's this all about, kind of thing. And then they sort of end up with the wars with The Rock and Stone Cold and this, that, and the other. It was cool for one time, but it was kind of flagging a little bit. And then Hogan obviously had that match with The Rock at WrestleMania, which, again, regardless of what you think of him, what I think of him personally, and I know a lot of us like technical wrestling. I love watching people like Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson and Dean Malenko. That's my sort of wrestling. But the match that Hogan and The Rock had was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, let me have a look. Hey mate, been watching wrestling since the late 80s. Very sudden. That's today's news. Much love from Wigan, home of the British Bulldog. It is the home of the British Bulldog, mate. Yeah. Oh, dude, I was devastated when Davey Boy lost his life. Absolutely devastated. Yeah. Yeah, Davey Boy was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Obviously, he had his demons as well. And this is another one from my era. So obviously, I used to watch Hogan and Warrior and Brett, Mr. Perfect, who's not Kurt Hennig, who isn't here anymore. So a lot of my childhood favourites and our childhood favourites are not here anymore. I used to love Jake the Snake Roberts as well, and obviously he's done very well to put his life back together. And then yeah, Hogan basically went face, won the WWE title, I think, against Hunter about 20 odd years ago or something like that. Then he had that ridiculous match against Shawn Michaels, and then he had the Mr. America thing, and then he went off to do his reality TV and this, that, and the other. And then he had the run with TNA as well, where he came in to much fanfare, and Eric Bischoff came in as well. And again, because a man has just died, I'm not going to make too much of this, but the only thing I'll say is Bischoff's and Hogan's run could have been better, to say the very least, basically. And TNA have only just recovered from that in the last couple of years, but that's besides the point. And then he came back to WWE in 2012. I'm not totally sure when he came back now, to be honest. But yeah, he came back. And then obviously that's when, back a couple of years after that, then you had all the allegations, and then obviously the video tape came out. Again, because a man has died this evening, I'm not going to make too much of that, but obviously you see the colour of my skin, and to say the least, I was not pleased. But again, I'm going to show respect for this evening. A man has died, and that's the most important thing for now. And then, yeah, he was in WWE, in and out, making special appearances, and blah, 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 blah. And then he got involved with a certain unidentified assailant, which, again, out of respect, I'm not going to get into that tonight. And, yeah, so he's had one of the best wrestling careers of all time, and then I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago I heard that he wasn't very well, or he needed an operation or something like that. So, obviously people were worried, but then I think news sort of came that he was okay or doing better, and I just thought, well, it's Hulk Hogan, he's going to live till he's like 145 or something like that. So I thought, all right, fair enough, and I didn't think anything of it. And then obviously I've heard the news today, and it's yeah, it's just it's really, really weird. Like I said, it's a very odd position for me, because again, I wasn't thrilled with Terry Bollea's conduct and some of his comments in his latter years. Taking that aside, I he's probably one of the wrestlers that I respect most of all time due to the impact he had on the business. Now, whatever you think of Terry Bollea, and I know what I thought of him certainly towards the end, you can't deny that he changed the business, and the business would not be what it is today without the impacts of Hulk Hogan and Hulkmania, and especially with Vince McMahon, who's obviously also got his demons and issues. So, yeah, in terms of his legacy, just to finish off, for me, he's had the biggest impact in pro wrestling of all time. The only people that come really close, you're talking a handful: Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You could make a case for The Rock's run as well. Obviously, Austin and The Rock at the same time. Yeah, but it's a very 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 short list. In terms of overall impact, obviously Vince McMahon, the way he changed the business when he came in and basically destroyed the territories and turned the WWE into what it is now, like a global organisation. I mean, WWE is one of the most recognisable brands in the world, and again, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan's work at the start of his run with WWE, I seriously doubt whether we would have what we have now in terms of WWE going forward. But then again, when they won the Monday Night Wars, we had 20 years of basically dross. 15 years of dross. I don't think it's unkind to say that either. I mean, WWE was appalling between 2003 to maybe 2019, not to be too harsh. But yeah, to be honest, folks, that's all I wanted to say. Like I said, it's a bit weird for me initially, and in the fullness of time, I'll probably have to rethink this. This is just my initial reaction. Yeah, call a spade a spade. I did not like Hulk Hogan in the last 10 years at all because of his views on people who look like me. At the same time, I respect Hulk Hogan for his impact on the business, and I wouldn't be watching what I am now if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan at the end of the day, and that's one of the contradictions of life. And in terms of greatest of all time, whatever metric you use, you have to put him on. Maybe not your Mount Rushmore, but if it's in terms of if you have a Mount Rushmore in terms of impact on the wrestling business, Hulk Hogan has to go on it. Whatever you think of him, whatever I think of him, his impact on the business was amazing, and he deserves all the credit in the world for that. And as I say, I can put my bias aside. At the end of the day, man has died, so my condolences to his family, his supporters, and his friends. Tonight's not the night to be talking about his bad points, really. So yeah, yeah, cool, mate. I don't know what that means. Yeah, so that's it, folks. Basically, yeah, just a sad day in wrestling, basically, I suppose. So, I tell you what, I'm going to. I'm actually going to remove that because that's massively disrespectful. It's like, mate, a bloke's died. Like, again, whatever I think of him, like, if you want to do your silly boy stuff, go on someone else's channel. Really enjoyed listening to you, Carl. You're very knowledgeable, passionate, great street. Oh, cheers, Omega, Altana. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, no, mate, I've been watching pro wrestling since 1989. Other than my support in Liverpool, it's the longest passion that I've had in my entire life. I don't think I've been a week without watching wrestling since probably 1990, 1991. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for that. Like I said, I love pro wrestling. Not to make this an advertisement, but obviously I do quite a bit of pro wrestling stuff. So I've got I do a live stream for WWE Raw on Monday, and I do one for Dynamite, which I did this morning as well, for AEW, and just stuff like this, which is a bit unfortunate. So yeah, thanks for that, mate. Yeah. Well, like I said, this will be released into a video at some point. Like I said, I actually do have another live video that I was actually meant to be doing in about 35 minutes, which is my review of Fantastic Four. So yeah, I was actually preparing that and making notes and stuff, and like I said, that was where I was going this evening, and I was going to do my whole spoiler cast for Fantastic Four. Didn't think I'd be doing anything else, and then obviously this news came through, and I thought as if I needed to get on and just address Hogan's passing, because as I say, at the end of the day, whatever I personally thought of the man, his impact on the business cannot be denied, and I'm not going to disparage a man that's just lost his life, whatever I think of him at the end of the day, because it's disrespectful. Obviously, in the fullness of time, those discussions will have to take place, and it's up to each individual person as to what they think. There's no right or wrong answer with this sort of thing, unfortunately. So, as I say, if I'm being completely honest, I was a huge Hulkmaniac when I grew up in Derby. I had Hulk Hogan's baseball card, I had his T-shirts, I had I had that stupid WFC CD that they had back in the day where Hogan was on it. I had his VHS tapes, blah 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 blah. So I myself was a Hulkamaniac, and that's the impact that he had. I mean, I was a young lad in Derby, and Hulk Hogan's impact even reached me in a small sleepy place like Derby at the end of the day. So, yeah. Oh, hi Fizzy, you're alright. Yeah. So. Yeah, dude, I know. Well, mate, that was a tough one for me as well, VHS, because obviously Ozzy Osbourne was from the West Midlands, and I live in Leeds now, but I'm like a son of the West Midlands, basically, hence the accent that you might hear that goes slightly Brummy every now and again. Obviously, just get comfy. Ozzy Osbourne was like a massive Villa fan, and I think they've done I think the Villa have put a mural up today as well. Sorry, this is like veering into football, which has nothing to do with wrestling, but Ozzy Osbourne wasn't. I thought he was a tremendous artist. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, he's a very massively talented bloke, but that sort of music isn't my music. I'm like hip hop, and 90s dance music and 90s rave and house music and Chicago house sounds and weird stuff like that, basically. But no, I always liked Ozzy, actually. Do you know what? He was, obviously, again, funnily enough, he was someone that had a few demons, but then again, who amongst us hasn't? Do you know what? He came across as a really lovely man. Really, really lovely. And he was a bit eccentric, but do you know what? I thought he was a perfectly fine bloke. So yeah, while I'm on here, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. Funnily enough, my my brother showed me something earlier. Sorry, I'm going off a complete tangent because that's nothing to do with Hulk Hogan. But there was this interview that someone did with Ozzy Osbourne about 20 years ago. They were talking about all sorts of stuff, and he was like, the interview was like, "Oh, who do you want to play in a biopic of your life?" And Ozzy Osbourne, without missing a beat, just turned around and said Denzel Washington. And it was just the way he said it in his West Midlands accent, because that's the sort that that's the sort of West Midlands humour that we've all got as well. I mean, knowing Ozzy, he was probably being half serious, to be quite honest. But yeah, no, it's a massive loss. So yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne as well. Obviously, if there's anyone on the stream watching that was an Aussie fan, condolences to yourselves as well. Yeah, it's been a bit of a week for deaths, hasn't it? I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan as well. I've just recently lost Diogo Jota, which, again, no offence to any Hulk Hogan fans intending, I'm not comparing things, but that absolutely broke me. I was in bits for days and days and days. So, yeah, it's been pretty rubbish, really, for deaths and stuff. But, yeah, obviously life has to move on, doesn't it? Right, folks, anyway, this was only meant to be a quick thing, so because I need to go and prepare my notes for my Fantastic Four podcast, which is meant to be starting in 31 minutes' time, and I've done nothing towards it whatsoever. So, if anyone wants to watch that, by the way, it starts at 11:30. I can't guarantee it's going to be the most wonderful production of all time, because basically I've done bugger all on it since I came out of the cinema. So, yeah, that starts at 11:30 if anyone's interested. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Like I said, it's a difficult day, very sad day, very conflicting day for me. But for tonight, I'm going to put it aside and just say, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea. I wasn't a fan of the things that you said, but I respect you for what you did in the wrestling business. And that's where I'll leave it, basically. Yeah, folks, so thanks everyone for watching. Just very, very quickly. Oh, hi, Tom. You're alright, mate. Just very, very quickly before I head off, just to say I'll be back live for WWE Raw on Monday night, so UK time. It'll be about 3:30. Oh, I'm glad you're alright, mate. I'm glad you're alright. Cheers, will do. But well, I'm not going to sleep actually yet, Tom, because like I was just saying to people that I'm like meant to be doing the Fantastic Four podcast as the other part of my channel, and I've just come back from the cinema, and basically I've done bugger all towards it, so that is probably not going to be great, but there we go. So yeah, I'll be going to bed in a bit, hopefully, maybe in the next 5 hours, there we go. Yeah, but anyway, I'll be back for Monday Night Raw. What did I see? Oh, Fantastic Four, mate. It was really, really good, absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. So I'm going to do like a spoiler cast and just talk about it in the next half an hour. If anyone's watching, by the way, who for some bizarre reason is going to cross over and watch it, do not watch it, and I'll put a warning. Yeah, I thought it was great as well, mate. If anyone is watching who's going to end up watching my spoiler cast, do not watch it unless you have watched the film, and I'll put loads of warnings on this, that, and the other. But yeah, like I said, I'll be back for Monday Night Raw. Obviously on Monday it'll be UK time. It'll be about 3:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll be back after that for AEW. Just to say as well before I go. Obviously I say this in all my lives, I've got a section on my channel called Geek Boy Does Wrestling. So all my videos for AEW are there. Obviously I've been to All In a couple of times. I've been to WWE like multiple times, and there's videos of me going to Sheffield and possibly another place as well. I do toy shorts for wrestling as well, but that's all under Geek Boy Does Wrestling. And I do a wrestling podcast as well, which is Geek Boy A Wrestling Story, and I do multiple other bits and pieces as well. If anyone's a Liverpool fan, comic books, horror, Marvel, all that business basically. Yeah, I cover all that, hence the name Geek Boy, obviously. Yeah, so if anyone's interested, go subscribe to the channel. If not, just thanks for your company. Got to go, all the best. Looking forward to seeing the channel again. Thank you very, very much, Tom. Looking forward to seeing you as well, mate. Cheers. Top bloke. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I will see possibly some of you soon again in the next 28 minutes for Fantastic Four. But for now, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea. Right, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.